This is my review of The Iron Claw. Directed by Sean Durkin, The Iron Claw is a biographic sports movie, and it's about the true events of the Von Erich brothers, one of the greatest wrestling families there ever was, and it tells the story of their rise and fall. If you were to go into this film knowing absolutely nothing, you could be convinced that this is going to be another underdog story. It's going to be another story where the characters are very low and the world is against them, but they'll eventually rise to power and it's all going to be so inspirational and everything. But that's not what this film is at all. It's actually a very sad movie. I really like how this film seemingly takes the underdog trope, which is usually very inspirational and courageous, and kind of flips it on its head, whether intentionally or not. Because instead, it tells a more Icarus type story. A story where these characters are flying so close to the sun that it's eventually what leads to their downfall. Something that I don't think we see that often in the sports genre. Sure, this is definitely not the first time this has ever happened, and also this is a true story, but still, I think it's nevertheless pretty fresh amongst the huge amounts of inspirational sports stories. The acting here is also really good. Everybody is great here. Admittedly, Zac Efron for about the first half of the film kind of looked like he had the same expression throughout most scenes and didn't really have a ton of personality, but it's in the second half where some of the big emotional moments are happening. That is where he does begin to knock it out of the park, and in general the acting just makes the big moments hit all the harder, and sometimes just looking at the expressions of the characters just says a lot about what they're potentially feeling. The wrestling matches are also very good, albeit slightly hit or miss sometimes, because there are some moments where some of the moves and punches don't hit quite as hard, and you can feel sometimes that the actors are holding back to not try to hurt each other. But for the most part, it is done very well and can get pretty intense sometimes. With one scene in particular, one fight scene which was towards the ending of the film, which was just straight up painfully gripping, and was easily the best fight in the whole movie. The Iron Claw is an amazing biopic. It's not as ambitious of a biopic as something like Oppenheimer. This one is much more simpler, but that's fine. There's obviously nothing wrong with that. It has great acting, great fight scenes, it's very emotionally moving, and it overall just does a great job in recounting the life of this wrestling family in a dramatic and emotionally moving way. I'm gonna give The Iron Claw a 9 out of 10. Stay tuned if you would like to see more film reviews. Peace out, fellow moviegoers!